good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world we're in. Today, we'll be doing another scene for Orlando Ascended, the mage venue. Our little scene begins with one Dr. Damien Wolf, at least these days, walking into a rather quaint and nice-looking bookstore. What might he be looking for? Who knows? But, as fate would have it, this bookstore is also the regular haunt of one Claire Redwood of the
Euthanatos.
the Euthanatos. Sorry, dear viewers. And now we shall be taking a closer look. Damien is perusing the books and seems to be on the look for something in particular.
So how it's set up is it's got two small rooms and then a little side door that's labeled as a bathroom, so you know you don't need to go in there. The front room is a full room like a normal shop, and all the rows are your typical, normal person books, from romance novels to H.P. Lovecraft to Bibles, that sort of thing. Then as you get back further, it gets more and more obscure, like to the point the aisles are no longer labeled beyond a letter of, A through Z, etc., etc. And those books are more towards what Mr. Wolf and Miss Redwood would be using in their daily practices. There's not as many books on these shelves, but there's also random knickknacks that Redwood has set up around them, like one shelf that has leather tomes on it, and it's only like 4 tomes. It has like a cat skull on one side and a dog skull on the other, holding them together and up in the standing position. And then one shelf is like 2 books, no title, you don't know what it's made of, it smells old and dusty, and that's got like little rocks and candles with it, that sort of thing.
Yes, as Dr. Wolf is slowly but methodically working his way through the bookshop, he, after a bit, recognizes that, especially when he sees the cat and the dog skull, it gives him pause, and he looks, and the old teeth are grinding into each other. I mean, the old teeth of the cogs up there. And he starts perusing the more esoterical and more obscure section, thoroughly engrossed in what he's seeing. And he's even making notes in a small note booklet that Miss Redwood would recognize. It is the one she gave him on their first meeting.
She was actually sitting, because like right at the end of these aisles are 2 like old school style armchairs that she picked up from a flea market, and a little end table, and she was sitting there curled up with her own notebook. She'll look up and she goes, "Well, hello, Mr. Wolf."
Ah, Miss Redwood. Long time no see.
Yes, I've been reading.
Then you've been doing the smart move. I've got myself sucked into a few adventures again.
Yes, I needed to reorganize grandmother's shop. She had so many things in the wrong areas. Spark of the Elements, I really thought would be a good research novel. It was not.
I deduce that was that you are now the proprietor of this rather nice shop.
It's still my grandmother's. She went away for a little while and just left me in charge. I have no idea when she'll decide to come back.
I see. I have to say, I'm quite enjoying your more esoteric corner here.
She'll nod. Yep, the family tradition. as she stands up. A little bit of everything on these back shelves, but there's not much.
It must be nice to have a family tradition linking up to that.
To be honest, I didn't even know. Not until I believe the expression would be shit hit the fan.
Yeah, that would be the term.
My mother's a pretty devout Catholic, and
oh boy.
some opinions differed from one another, we'll say.
Monotheism, yeah.
So, anything specific you're seeking to inform your mind of?
I don't take it you would have anything on the more magical history of our world.
She kind of like chews her lip. I could search through some of the backlog and see.
I definitely wouldn't mind, because it's all well and good that they are teaching me about methodology, but it's pretty obvious that there's a big fundus of knowledge and actual things that happened in history that have been swept under the carpet. And so far, nobody has really been able to tell me exactly why we are, the traditions, and anyone who's not the technocracy is at war with the technocracy. And that just won't do. If I don't know the history of this conflict, how the hell am I supposed to influence it?
I mean, I could tell you what my grandmother told me and the little bits I've picked up from listening to voices, but that's still secondhand information that's not been appropriately tested and authenticated.
Then again, when it comes to magic, you can count yourself lucky if you don't get it out of 4th or 12th hand.
My personal opinion, though, is we're at war with them for the same reason any war happens. There's one big guy saying one thing and one big guy saying another. And those opinions spread to masses, and masses spread to violence. And from what I've seen, the technocracy are kind of like the Nazis, and we're kind of like the Jewish.
Interesting choice of analogy.
Well, I mean, there's other ways, but I was trying to think of one that would affect the whole world and not our country.
Fair enough.
Not just our country.
Fair enough. Well, maybe the Jews and the resistance.
True.
Yeah.
When I research stuff like this, I start small, and then I see where all the connections are. If you can find the threads between two events, you usually can find out the why.
Makes perfect sense. Oh, by the way, seems I had misinformed you the last time we saw. Turns out I was apparently not a Verbaner from the start, because let's just say back home, they hadn't done an initiation ritual. That caused a few awkward situations. Turns out I'm still an orphan. Anyway.
She just shakes her head. Long as you don't put anything else inside me, I think we'll be good, Mr. Wolf.
His expression actually darkens at that. And what is that supposed to mean?
When we first met, your entropy,
well, I would hardly call it my entropy. It was it was more like how should I say, like many cobwebs that had clung to me as I was falling through a long, long and cobweb-filled tunnel.
True. I mean, it still isn't the worst thing that's happened. I've learned my lesson. Even if rescue is in sight, do not flip off giant eyeballs.
I'll have to think about that analogy.
Oh, see, I can't remember if Wolf was there or not when she went to the Shadowlands.
I
When she went to go and get information for him on the plot.
Oh, wait. Oh, I Oh yes, of course, that one scrying session that you did. Yes. Yes, I remember now. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, definitely not forward facing Deacon Frost or taking care of old Jackie Boy, but then again, I've seen eldritch horrors before, so I don't know. It desensitizes you a bit to certain things.
It's not so much a desensitization needed. It's just that was the first time things like that got that close. So it was a little different.
Fair enough. But if I may ask, I remember when I plopped down and you came closer to me that you were, sorry for the term, but you were hysterical and you were scratching your arms like crazy. May I politely inquire what exactly you were seeing or sensing or what was happening?
That when others unintentionally even use magical things upon me, it's still new to me. Not a lot of people have used it. So when you're the entropy, she changes it from yours to the, came out of your body and went into me, it was frightening.
Okay, fair enough. That makes perfect sense. And as little control as I had about it, I'd still like to say that I'm sorry that I was the catalyst of that unpleasant experience.
She's going to hold her hand up to him. It's not fully your fault. I had a long night. And with my tradition, we deal with a lot of things that shouldn't normally frighten us, but after a while, stress builds up.
You can say that again. I'm missing my hot tub. Oh, that used to be just the thing, especially after a long and bloody day.
Yeah, I mean, I had just met Miss Stone Cold Machine. She'll say it with a smirk.
Damien wrinkles his brow and starts scratching it.
Christine's character.
Oh, you must be referring to Clea.
Yes, I met Clea, and then before that, she came up on me while I was doing a session with someone, and they won't talk usually. At least the normal human ones won't if other people are around.
Mind if I sit down?
Oh, please, go ahead.
And he sits down and puts his stuff on.
And she goes, if you haven't noticed, I'm also a lot calmer when I'm here.
Yes. I hope you don't mind if I might come more regularly here. I'm quite enjoying the ambience.
That is perfectly fine. This store, and then she'll like write an address down that's just a little bit down the street. this cottage are where I'm usually at when I'm not at the park or the cemetery. The park is just, I probably shouldn't have gone there at nighttime to do what I needed to do, but I didn't want to be, as people called it, talking to myself in the middle of the day.
Ah, understood. I knew a fellow who did something similar at the graveyards. He would even bring rum and other alcohols for the local residents, as incorporeal as they might have been.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. It's really weird first being able to see the spirit world and then having that taken from you. It is weird. It just feels as if I'm missing something.
As much as it gives me discomfort most nights to have it, I'm not sure what I would do if it ever left. It's been a part of me since I was a baby.
Hmm. Now that's an experience I'll probably never be able to properly fathom. I was already a man of 30 before my third eye awakened, in a manner of speaking.
It was odd because I could hear the whispers and see the flashes of images, but I had no power behind me till much later.
Hmm. Then again, from what I've heard from a lot of other mages, some of them seem to be a bit jealous of my position.
To be fair, you're probably the most sane and normal of us.
Thank you, thank you. To be fair, I had my few crises, existential crises, these last few weeks, but I think I've got a pretty good handle on things now.
At least you don't see writhing, shadowy tentacles every time you step out of the store or house.
Correct.
Or, spend your whole childhood high on lithium.
Most definitely not. No, no. I dare say, in some ways, I had almost a stereotypical childhood.
Well, then you are the most normal. You are the key to balance, keeping all of us crazies in check.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh well. Funnily enough, well, I have to say, call it what you want to, but I've been positively surprised how welcoming, at least two of the traditions have been towards me. Heck, I even have a Order of Hermes member who has been teaching me the basics of their approach to magic, I would say.
I think it's just because they want to refill their numbers. They know something bad's coming.
Isn't something bad always coming? Isn't the world always on fire and we rushing around to stop it
I wouldn't say
just
it's
for.
always on fire, but the wheel is always turning one way or another.
Well, yeah, the wheel always turns. You either choose to go with it or get crushed beneath it.
Now, if you truly miss the spirits and the Shadowlands, I could work with you some and see if any of it comes back to you.
Hmm. My original approach used to be via ancestor worship, and I've got the feeling that's most likely the reason why I'm not, or at least my old avenues are not working for me. For all I know, my parents might never have been born, or things might have gone a very different way.
She's going to reach over and take his hand in hers. And she's like running her hand over, like one finger over the random lines on the palm for like palm reading.
He'll let her.
And then she'll smile and close his hand over it. Mr. Wolf, what do scientists do when a method doesn't prove successful or proves flawed?
We try to get whatever information we can get out to see where the fault might be in the method and adjust it and see if that will give us the result. Repeatedly, of course, because a one-off fluke can always happen.
She's grinning at him. Then I would suggest let's treat your magic like science.
Well, I know it's a bit of an unpopular opinion, but that's basically what I've been trying to do. Because as far as I'm concerned,
your power comes from the heart and the mind. Some of us pull from our soul also, but you being a man of science, I'm not sure you believe in that.
well, I am, put it that way, a good scientist must also be willing to adjust his paradigm when he is faced with.
Well then, she'll stand up,
Yeah.
dust her pants off some. She'll move over to the back aisles that they're sitting by and she'll pull a couple books down. Will OOC let the ST decide what's in them?
Yeah.
She'll hand them over to him and go, treat yourself like a student for a little while. You're tasked with research, learning, and adapting. She'll shrug, and we're all here to support you.
Interesting. Although there are no tribal or factional ties yet.
Not yet, but that doesn't mean you can't pull on what you know personally.
Well, yeah. The not that little that I do know, most of it was in self-study, so there we
You're an
go.
archaeologist, I believe, is what you said you were, right?
Correct. A doctor of archaeology, actually.
Why don't you pull on what you know of the history of the world, then?
You'll laugh, but that's how I based my practice on a combination of Sumerian and Indo-European practices.
I didn't even mean just religious practices. I meant all around you is a world and power. All you have to do is pull from it a little bit. Just remember to give back what you pull.
Well, yeah, that. Excellent. I've come across that concept in the Bronze Age. Whatever they took out of the mountain, for example, to make into tools, weapons, and similar, when it was no longer used, it would be bent and returned to the wild mother, Gaia, whatever you want to call her or it.
Mother Nature.
1,000 names, and yet the same still concept.
The mother of us, the mother of all.
Yeah.
We're born from her, and in death we return to her.
Yeah. But let's not forget the good old Sky Father. After all, some of his will and his strength keeps things going as well.
I mean, it's any belief you want you can pull on. It just seems to me right now you need to find your way. What you want to pull from, what you want to do. And I can give you advice, I can give you opinions like I'm doing now, but none of us can actually force you to do anything one way or another. In the end, it's going to be your power, your words, your ideals behind whatever happens.
Yeah, I am synthesizing 2 strands, but I'm still open to borrow, if not downright steal, from any tradition that I can find and that works.
You can take those books home with you, by the way, if you want. All I ask is when you're done reading them, bring them back and don't let them get damaged.
Don't worry, my father was a historian. He made sure that I knew how to treat books well. But that's actually very kind of you, Miss Redwood. Let me offer you something in return. And that would be, I'm reasonably good at crafting, I would say. May it be wood, metal, bone, antler. Just let me know if you need some ritual item made or some other object, cast, hammered, cut, shaven, you name it. And I'll see what I can do. But yeah, I've found sometimes if you can find objects that have a deep cultural meaning, it makes it just that little easier to attune it.
Well, my grandma does have a creepy-ass doll that needs a box, if you can make me one.
Not too difficult. Any specifications?
Something I can put a lock on the outside of.
Awaken during the night and...
You're cutting out there, by the way.
How is it now?
Much better. I was actually closing a couple programs down, seeing if maybe that was affecting it. Okay. I can't hear you again if you're talking. There we go.
Yeah. Okay. Just so that I know if this doll has a bad propensity of getting up in the middle of the night and terrorizing small children.
I wouldn't know about the terrorizing part, but it feels cold around the doll a lot, and when I come home, it's always in a different spot than I put it in.
All right. Extra strength, probably with some iron fittings.
I mean, it's not done anything violent or odd or malevolent towards me, but I would really like to not trip over it all as I walk into my house. And I want to test a theory, if it's actually something moving the doll, or someone's coming into my house, or there's an animal.
Gotcha. Now, I'll see that I craft you something nice and solid, and that it is softly cushioned for the doll itself.
Well, thank you, my dear friends.
You're welcome. And out of curiosity, have you ever heard the word Chakravanti?
Once. I don't know what it means, though.
Who knows? Maybe that variation on the Euthanatos name doesn't exist here.
Maybe. I mean, I can do some research. Shrug.
No problem. I know it's Sanskrit, and it is because the base form can be found in other Indo-European languages. Oh, sorry, I must be boring the hell out of you.
I like history. It's fine.
Yeah. Something I definitely would like to do, especially since I'm in this corner of the world now, is at some point go to places like Mound City and other old ritual places and see if I might be able to see things that other colleagues of mine with a more mundane mindset might have missed. Because, how should I say, due to some research I used to be doing, I've got the feeling that there's a whole swath of human history that has disappeared, and I've got the feeling that there are still places that were erected as, how should I say, as memories, but that the memories of those might have gone lost. Let's just say the Eye of the Sahara is looking very promising for one famous lost city.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind going to places like that. The only place I know close by like that is the Hotel Angevit, which
Mhm.
I live next to if you ever want to check it out and learn some of its history.
Oh, you've got me interested now. But first things first, thank you very much for the books. I'll give them a good read. Who knows? Maybe it'll give me the starting point that I need.
I would also try some meditation. Not for religious reasons, but sometimes it's good to just close your eyes and organize your thoughts.
Yeah, recently I was hoping that my short camping trip would help me at the very least, maybe get in touch with some nature spirits, but Paradox can be an utter bitch and hound.
Maybe you should try something a little unexpected. I know a few who have found their way going into the most chaotic human sources of energy.
Hmm.
Maybe
Okay.
go, it's not really my scene, but I know some mages who go to like nightclubs.
Hmm. Well, if all fails, I can go the ayahuasca route.
She kind of laughs. Yeah. And I mean, a change of scene is all it takes sometimes. I should
Yeah.
probably get back to work now, though. She'll say as some more people come in.
Yeah, I don't want to keep you up for more. And he'll carefully pack the books, give her a nod, and actually will offer a good solid handshake.
Yep, she'll shake his hand back, remind him not to damage the tomes.
He'll just nod and before he leaves say, "Oh, and Miss Redwood, should anyone try to get physically nasty with you, give me a call. I'm pretty good at dealing with," and he coughs, "bullies."
She'll kind of laugh. She goes, "No, I haven't really dealt with that. Not anything I couldn't, for the most part, handle. It's mostly tentacles. Tentacles rubbing across your face isn't violent, but it doesn't feel good either."
Don't forget, you have a mouth and teeth. You can still bite.
Of course.
And he leaves the bookshop off to do a little bit more research on spirits. Who knows what these books might reveal to him. And unless there are any other actions that want to be declared,
No, I mean, like you see Claire get up, go to the front of the bookstore, and start checking people out, and like she'll make a comment. The book they're buying, Spark of the Elements, is a horribly written erotic novel.
he'll just chuckle to himself as he leaves the shop. And with that, thank you players for playing. Thank you watchers for watching. This was another scene for Ascension Orlando.